Excited to see it.
Yeah, we'll have an open house and have you guys come over for cookies and coffee. And then we're gonna charge admission to go on, so we can pay for that.
Right, right. It's a fundraiser and.
It's a big sale.
Yep.
Grand opening. Alright. Well, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the September 11th, 2023 planning and zoning meeting to order.
Okay, so, Mike,
Here.
Matt,
Here.
Wes,
Here.
and Brian.
Here.
Well, we can't.
Not yet. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, great. And Shelley.
And Shelley.
Good timing. Perfect timing. So we'll look to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Aye. All right, so moving on to the minutes from our August 7th, 2023 meeting. Any suggested changes?
Anything we need to talk about from that? Or anything?
Nope.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to the former lagoon site easement review.
We have John Tramer from Origin who is here to, I'm gonna let him take the lead on this.
Hi, everybody. John Kramer, land surveyor with Origin Design, and I don't know how familiar everybody is with this project. The preliminary plat was approved for the lagoon site back in April. You're all familiar with that, so the plat substantially conformed to what was approved back in April. This is a little piece for grading it. This is a Piasta warehouse lot, and that's where the main building is, sits on 1 to 3. The portion to the west there,
Sorry.
that's okay. No, it's all good. That lot, well, lot 2 of 3 is for grading. It affects the lagoon site. So that is owned by AJ Spiegel Trust, and the lagoon site is gonna be developed by the Spiegel Family Realty Company of Iowa. So he's gotta deed that over. Anyway, that becomes part of the lagoon subdivision. I call it the lagoon subdivision. It's west of Dubuque Industrial Park number 14. We'll see that in the upcoming plats, but this piece is gonna get joined into that where the 2 new warehouses and cap court is gonna get extended to the west, which will eventually, there's a detention basin to the west as well, for the 2 warehouse sites. So that's what this plat is. It's a simple plat. It's just 2 of 3 will be combined in a future plat after this gets recorded, deeded over to the Spiegel Family Realty, and then incorporated into the new warehouse subdivision. It's for grading purposes. It's where Cap Drive comes in. I don't know if you've seen the site, but there's a lot of vertical change right there at that intersection as you're coming into the site. So that's for grading purposes mostly. There's that 3A up in the northwest corner. That's gonna be an acquisition plat. We'll see that in an upcoming plat here. So that's what this plat is for. She's cutting that little piece out. So for future development on the lagoon site. Do we take it one plat at a time or?
You're running the show, you tell us.
Yep,
All right.
whatever you want me to do.
If you would go to the next acquisition plat, we'll come back to this one, if that's. all
This
right.
one right here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where that 3A I just showed you up in the corner. That is, yeah, where Cap Drive, it makes a S curve as it comes into the site. So again, for grading, for pavement, utilities, things of that nature. That will be a standalone It'll be accepted by the city as right of way. That's what this is for. This actually goes to the city and not to AJ. It's for the development of the intersection of Pat Simon Drive and Pat Ford as it extends through. And then if we go back to the other one, that is on the north side again. It's that same intersection. There's some paving, utility grading. And there's a storm sewer there. That's an existing storm sewer. So we're just taking the triangle. And that's gonna be dedicated to the city. As part of that right away. So it's kind of a piecemeal of several lots in that intersection. The Pat Simon Drive going up to the wastewater treatment facility was done by acquisition plats a few years back as well. So. That's what that plat is. And then the next one, I think there's a easement plat. This is for storm sewer. This is just south of. That lot B has the existing lift station on it. It's the piece to the east. It's lot B, Capcourt Industrial. Anyway, that's the existing lift station. Just north is gonna be the new lift station where there was some funding. I'm unfamiliar with the grant, but that had to do with the city getting the lift station. So this is just storm sewer, and it's that needs to go on to the adjacent lot as part of the design for the lagoon subdivision. It needs to tie in some of that stuff to the south. Again, AJ Spiegel Trust owns this to the south too. So he's just gonna grant some easements for the use, for the benefit of the lagoon side and the two warehouses. And that was part of the preliminary plat as well. And then I think those are the, yeah, the ones that need to be approved prior to, I don't know if we were doing the lagoon site. Are we going ahead and
What do you have?
doing
Amber Platts
approval on
on?
the lagoon site itself?
We just have just those four. We already looked at this one.
That's all we had for tonight, so
Okay.
we can't look at the lagoon sites
Right.
tonight, obviously, because it's not on the agenda.
And not only that, but there's an order to these plats. So really, this has to be recorded first,
Right.
you know, and then the deeds have to be transferred. So I guess in the next meeting.
Which is tomorrow night, yeah, we've already got,
I mean, the next zoning meeting for the lagoon side.
sure, yeah, that'd be October 5th.
Yeah, so
No,
then all the deeds should be
Okay.
exchanged by that point. I'm guessing
okay,
that the city will accept those two right-of-way acquisition plats. This will get approved so that we can deed from the AJ Trust to the Family Realty Trust. And yeah, that's what this, so I guess, yeah,
yeah, so these easements are already on the agenda for tomorrow night for approval.
okay,
So, I don't know if, the mayor usually comes in toward the end of the week to sign everything, so we'll give you a holler if you want to stop and pick those up. Because I have all the originals, okay.
the resolutions accepting the right-of-way, yeah. Two resolutions. Perfect. Then there was going, tomorrow night, they were gonna sign the deed.
Yes, actually, yeah, because the resolution was passed a few years ago, so the warranty deed can just be signed up by the clerk and the
That's
mayor
just a
tomorrow.
formality.
Yep,
I got you.
absolutely.
I think that's it. I open it up for questions if you have any.
As you can tell, they find it very fascinating.
So it's pretty straightforward, right? Yeah. So,
I mean, this is something you guys have been working on literally all year.
And then hopefully the next month, we'll bring the subdivision plat for the two warehouses. And that'll combine all this stuff together.
Yeah.
Got the two acquisitions. You can see the two acquisition pieces on that one. The 2A is north of Fab Drive, and then 3 Well, there's that lot A that already exists, and then there's a 3A with Tapcourt Industrial Park. Those are all gonna be city property. Actually, lot A is city right now. There's some public utilities in there.
So I guess if no one has any questions for John, he can, he's free to go.
That's it, we're all good. I don't stay for a vote or anything.
Yeah, you do have to make the recommendation. So if somebody would like to make that recommendation.
So
Do it.
I'll make the recommendation for approval for plat lot number 3. The acquisition plats for the right of way, which were 2A and 3A.
That's correct.
And then lot number 4.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I can go, John.
Very good, thank you. That was easy. I'll see you next month.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Natalie.
Yeah, we'll-
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Moving on to looking at the zoning code of ordinances. Last meeting, we made it through R1 and R2. And we talked about continuing on from there.
So are we gonna start with R3?
R3, yep. And we did look at this a little bit. A few meetings back.
I think we had to leave because it was 7 o'clock and they've been closing the library.
Yep. So I think we can just start in.
And the red markouts are just, that was kind of a once through. So we're going back through that to make sure that we definitely either want to strike that out or we want to keep those in.
So those are just initial edits.
Right, and I don't know how familiar you are with what had happened with the Calhan apartments, and we had so he's building apartments, Slavic was building a number of apartments, so the city council and planning and zoning decided that we're having way too many apartments being built all at once, so they put a moratorium in place. And then they struck the apartments, the condominiums out of R1, R2, R3. So moving forward, we have to be very selective where we want the apartments. That's kind of like you see the strike throughs are up there right now. Yeah, so it's kind of a Cliff Notes version to kind of jump forward to where we're at right now. Mhm. Now I'm gonna shut up.
The difference between multifamily and two-family dwelling.
The 2 dwelling family would be like a duplex. And a multifamily would be like Callahan's apartments, Slavic's apartments, where there's multiple dwellings.
Why don't we just say that?
That's totally up to you.
Two-family dwelling,
We would probably have to go into the definition section to do that.
okay.
That's what I would recommend.
Okay.
So that means we probably need to go back to the definitions real quick and take a look and see what we've got. For,
I feel like that kind of was part of the discussion about that, because we were like, there's
Family.
some overlap, yeah.
Rather like a condo. Or a duplex.
or duplex. Mhm.
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Don't mind my scrolling, you might want to look away so you don't get sick.
Can we go back to R2 really quick?
Yep.
Um,
Right here.
So is there gonna be a need for stuff to be in R2 and R3? Why don't we just want it in one for simplicity versus overlap? I feel like less gray area, the better.
Yeah. And getting back to the apartments, I feel like that's where they kind of got muddy because it was in multiple. I would agree, trying to condense it to.
But what's the difference between 2 and 3 then? First,
Versus multiple. Three to do condos and all that. Two, right?
their condo was,
So the red we added.
Hmm.
Back.
Yep.
It makes sense to do more of. Like have housing in schools under R2 and then work on the other things under. R3. It comes back to the definition.
it was R3 defined it. Other one.
Sorry.
All that thing.
Which is pretty more.
So R2 is low density.
You bet.
R2 is low density and R3 is medium density, right?
Medium to high.
So you're permitting in those areas more structures in an R3 than you would in R2, correct? So would it be odd to ask, is it, what's the aesthetics that you want, or do you want more open spaces in those areas, or do you want tighter to allow more to grow in the lot sizes? Just kind of a rhetorical question, I guess, but what do you want intermixed in between all those two different groups?
This is not as easy as it looks.
No. So what's in R1? I mean, is that, are we trying to build it up to?
I think we took most everything out of there.
Yeah, almost everything out of R1 except for single,
Okay.
but.
Which is good.
Perfect, love it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, and in-home daycare. We gotta add that.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, what they're seeing in the town.
Because in single, you kind of need to feed those single family homes with something that's fairly close proximity, like that daycare, right?
I can work in there. Okay, so this one then. This just. Yeah, not to go complete, but the country club fire department golf course. No, that's not, is that really residential? I suppose it is.
And keep in mind that this entire zoning was on a shelf. And the city needed something quick and
Yeah,
easy,
no.
and they just pulled this, so yeah, I would say it's not, but again, I'm just here to. Listen
I
and
guess to Brian-
advise.
to Brian's point, right, so this one would really be very limited to like. 2-family dwelling, condos, townhouses.
Yep.
Daycare.
And then you really, what do you want to serve those?
Yeah, I think the high school I want to rule out because it's nice to have a school near your single families in R2. I don't know if I'd label. it.
Okay, that's, okay.
Only
okay,
in that
okay, okay.
one exception, but I would agree with the fire department golf course.
Only on a residential.
Like if we're seated, that's gonna be surrounded by R1.
Mhm.
You always spot it going to an R3, but I feel like
So it's fun to. What were you gonna say, John?
Well, I agree, except for you want a school right in the middle. I think what it can be. It's a in the bottom, what you like. 4 of them that work at the school.
I like that,
I agree.
that's fair.
I mean, I see
Then R,
your point,
then
right?
R3 would bring it back to us, we just have to make a decision on it, obviously.
Is there an R4?
No.
Is there any?
Sure. That could be.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that is that you try to simplify this, like where R3 is apartments. And then R4 is more of your catch-all. Golf course. Fire department. I don't know. Who holds that? I'm just. I can see Wes, to your point, though, it's not bad to have some of that stuff, but
Yeah, but it's not that hard to change though, I don't think, in Piasta, right? If someone really wants to put a school. So I think we could move school to a different one, I'm fine with that.
I would make more straight, more clean these up to more what they're. You know, there's this whole big definition and then there's all this other stuff in it, right?
Well, on our zoning map, take a look at this. The brown area is R3, okay? It's a very small area. In fact, it's like where I live. There's a few over by the Piasta, Community Parkway and Birds Road. There's some right there. So it's very limited.
So when this go around, they're kind of a little bit of a landlocked that could have occurred.
Yeah, and all those areas are already. I mean, they're already. The apartments here, and down over there.
Yeah.
Apartments here, no apartments right there, and then those are townhomes, you know.
And I think by keeping the apartments in R3, that's probably good, since we don't have a huge area for them. I know that right now that they are sprinkled into the C2 zoning. Well, not anymore since we moved them out, but. And I think for a community of our size, that creating an R4 would just be messy. I think that the 3 that we have right now, I think that we can manipulate them to have the appropriate
Yeah.
uses in each one.
So are we thinking R2 would be just like the multifamily, like condos, 2-family dwellings, and then moving most of the other things like apartments, schools, golf, I mean, that other stuff we will maybe look at. I don't know if that'd be commercial or if we keep it in residential, but. Because we did talk about looking at the comprehensive plan again too, but I think getting this.
Yeah, we need to get through the
Clean up.
zoning first,
Yeah,
and then we can
yeah.
tackle the comprehensive plan.
I do feel like a public park could fit in that.
Yeah, around it, yeah.
One of the few things that could probably
Stay,
stay there,
other than housing.
I like
single
that.
family townhouse. 2-family. Some communities do 2 to 4, I don't know if that matters. We want to keep it duplexes. Do it.
Because this would get modified, correct, as more land is acquired or annexed, where the city footprint gets larger, correct?
Right, it would be zoned whatever the developer comes in and requests the zoning to be.
So we may also have to consider, making sure we can control when those next outliers start to occur.
Right, yep.
It's a good thought, yeah.
Which is part of the reason why I think we really kept it narrow, like in the.
We should keep this narrow as well, then.
Like you said, it's less for interpretation.
Yeah.
Keep it black and white.
Single family, townhome, 2-family in a park. Or anything else that, I guess daycare.
I like
And
that.
condos, I guess, as well, would stay.
Yep.
I think everything else would just go to R3. R3 is not zoned, so if somebody wants to change it, it has to be for a good reason, and then we would make that decision.
Like, force the discussion, right?
Exactly.
You can leave Mark on there.
I agree with that completely, because I think most of the time, like, from my experience,
You want to discuss the outliers, right?
most of the time.
Otherwise,
when
go.
people are coming and then
Are we
they're
keeping
upset
group
because
just
they're like,
dwelling
how
in
could
there?
this have happened? And,
Are we keeping group
you know,
dwelling?
it's falling under the zoning,
Because
it's so broad, yeah.
Are we keeping group dwelling?
what's the definition?
So how's that defined?
How I would define it.
I don't like that, but. It all depends on how it's a facility.
Yeah, well, it could be like adult daycare, it could be. Like ARC, where handicapped folks gather to do daytime activity, adult daycare in essence. And it's not defined in here.
So if I was the
Oh,
landlord.
we
or
added that.
Property owner.
Yes,
Right. We added that last time.
I don't know if I'd be happy with the value of my property. Even though that's a group dwelling serves the right need, but kind of want to have something that has an appreciating value to neighboring residential property.
Okay, so we want condo, park, single family in their townhouse, two family, and daycare.
Do we have any zero lot line?
Not that I'm aware of. And that's totally up to you if you want to take that out.
Just pull it out.
Take it out of the definitions too, Nick, or the.
There was.
Okay.
That's not preferred, right, in that?
Right,
Do you want a daycare facility or in-home daycare?
Probably.
I think it was in home is what we decided last time for the R1.
Is it in the definition though?
there's daycare and it has to be licensed by the state. We don't have an adult, or we don't have a in-home daycare unless we did create a definition for
We
that.
put or in home
Or in home
daycare.
daycare.
And then do you want the zero lot line flowing in there? And here's the definition.
I think it doesn't hurt to have it there just in case eventually if we get to a spot where.
Yep.
So we're not reinventing the wheel. Are we done with that?
I think our thoughts on the daycares would be in home, wouldn't it?
That's why.
Where's We're at R2.
We put like a conditional use or something like that up top. We put a specific phrase at the bottom, I thought. That's approved by the.
Oh, yeah.
The zoning.
Commissioners.
Yeah. Very similar.
There you go.
I thought we put that somewhere, didn't we?
Yep, it's up there.
Oh, right there.
There we go.
I thought we put that in there. Remember that?
So do you put on 1 and 2, do you put daycare in parentheses in home?
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And then on 3, it can become a facility,
Facility.
commercial. Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, John. While you're here.
No, I want.
You got to spread back. I think we
Actually,
didn't touch
Yeah, go
the
back to
conditional
one.
uses, boarding, funeral home, like that's probably taken out, right?
You're gonna make my job as a zoning administrator real easy.
Okay, so go up to R1 real quick, sorry.
Okay. Same thing.
Okay, you got it on daycare listed up there.
Yeah.
Good job. Okay.
We're gonna keep the in-home business accessory use as well and just pull that to R2. Accessory uses, home-based business.
Oh, for R1, you want to?
That's an R1. Do we want that in R2 as well?
I think so, and this is just my 2 cents because with COVID and everything, I think that it's.
A lot of people.
Open up a lot of different.
Oh, yeah, it's in there.
Use with that.
The only question I have is there a regulation of certain in-home businesses that one that can create more traffic than another in the residential area?
That should be good.
And I've often thought that we should have a business license that you register with the city so that we
You know
know,
you exist.
right? And that's kind of got pushed back because it's just another fee that council doesn't want to push up onto the taxpayers, but that would be a way to regulate it. So maybe as part of the recommendation, we put that information in there that And it's totally up to you if you want to recommend that if we do go with the home-based businesses, that it be regulated by the city, permitted, so that we can control what's being.
What
If
the-
there- Go ahead.
If there's a fee associated with it, if it's just for like administrative paperwork due to it, or what is the fee?
Typically, they're like $25 to $35 and it covers administrative, but that doesn't even take the tip of the iceberg of what it really costs. But I think it's more for us to know what's being operated out of at home. So, number one, we can control the traffic. That's a big thing because we don't have a lot of parking in town. We don't have a lot of sidewalks either.
So part of that process, would it be to approve or deny what the business is doing, or, okay,
Right.
And then
So
how, go ahead.
Oh, just keep in mind, if we start regulating the home-based businesses, then we're gonna have a definition of home-based business and parking allotment, so it's gonna be a lot more work.
For now, if there was a home-based business that generated too much traffic, couldn't a citizen file a complaint and then it would bring it up to us to rectify the situation?
Right, because it would at that point be a non-conforming use, and then it could be fined as a nuisance.
Yeah, so we can always come back if there's a worst case scenario, correct?
Sure.
But it could also be not just the traffic, which that's probably gonna be one of the biggest visual. But like, let's say someone opens up a vape shop. And now you have people.
Oh,
Any.
well, the
it's
vape
happening.
shop would have to be in a C1 or
So in
C2.
their home-based business,
No, we wouldn't allow that, but we would know.
Good.
Right now, we
Right, I
wouldn't know.
was saying,
Yeah.
how would you know? You didn't.
You wouldn't know.
so it's really trying to put golden handcuffs on. This situation, to make sure there's less for interpretation.
Massage therapy out of your, I don't know if people who do in-home massages where now they see one client a day or something like that. I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit of a nuisance.
I know a lot of people, not in
Just keep
kiosks,
small.
but like do nails out of their house because of COVID.
Would like Scentsy selling and, I don't do it, but like would Scentsy selling be part of it too, or like?
Because you're gonna have
That's
delivery
so
drivers.
much.
Yeah,
Versus people are vocal. That would make sense. There's a vape shop, somebody would bring it up, I'm pretty sure we'd all be like, you know.
so do we like R2?
So what are we gonna do with the home-based business?
We need to take the zero lot line out too, again for R2 as well.
R2, okay.
There you go.
is it worse, so like if we don't address anything with a home-based business, like we don't specify that or have anything. Okay, put parameters on it, is it better or worse for us to leave that on there then? Because I feel like if we leave it open and we don't have parameters on it, then it could allow for a conversation to be brought up later and then respond to it. But like if it's there, it almost looks like we're allowing it and then, something worst case scenario happens and then it's like, well, I'm under your zoning ordinance, like,
Very good point.
Okay, so I have a question. So like Farley, I know this for an example. If you have a rental property in Farley, you just notify the city. There's no charge for it, but it's just, they basically take your name and number and then they just write down the address. And then they file it and put it in a binder. Is there something where we could just, you have to notify the city and just let them know and there's basically nothing else that needs to be done? If it becomes a problem, then it's with us, or I don't know how.
We could do that, but then that just becomes an admin nightmare.
So
Just adds more work to it, yeah. No, it's a good idea, but I mean, maybe
Maybe
it's
how
just,
much, I'm sure there's quite a few that you're aware of.
and maybe it's kind of like that definition that we talked about before. Maybe we just leave it there until we have an instance to where we have an issue. And then we can address it. It certainly doesn't hurt anything.
That, the parking line looks like it's incomplete.
It's right here. No, it's not. I don't know where it is.
Okay, so what is it?
I don't even know.
Is it R1?
Did it just not get copied over?
Probably not.
Yeah.
What's it supposed to be? Do we know? Well, we can look at R1. Probably the same thing. Oh, it's not even there.
Yeah, it's a. That probably needs a little look.
What about?
What is the rule of street parking, just to bring it up, how long is a trailer that's sitting there supposed to sit there?
48 hours.
That's what I thought. So we call the local PD and we want to see them move it,
Yes, sir.
thanks.
You bet. That's what I'm here for.
Hypothetical situation.
Asking for a friend.
Oh, this is part of it right here. That's the sign. It's all this.
I'm a pretty easy going guy, but after a while,
Months.
weeks.
Yep, just call the non-emergency number.
We got Comer's cell phone too.
That is the non-emergency phone number.
No, I. He has called me once and I'm like, oh no, what do you think about?
Mike has the luxury of having almost everybody's cell phone numbers in the city, with him being on council prior to this.
Yeah.
So with parking shall be regulated in conformance with the provisions of the city of Piasta rule or like.
Isn't it such a
I
big
think not overcomplicated, but just keep it consistent with what we would do.
What are you saying? And what?
We're gonna keep it consistent with the regulations that are,
With how it is in here? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Easy
it's
peasy.
not anything that we did not into it.
Parking after,
Yeah, it is. So it's something that's in there that makes them.
Okay. Mhm. Even all this struck out.
That's the other thing, if you're gonna, yeah. there you go.
Yeah.
You catch that. Good.
It's best that we do this as we're live.
No, I love it. Boarding or lodging house.
Oh, snap you. The students.
I'm not gonna watch.
You do a good job.
She is.
Oh, thank you.
With all other permitted uses.
Is that deemed by the?
By the zoning
Yeah.
administrator.
Mindy County's at, you know.
You're hired.
Right?
Just take all other permitted uses out of there. Don't you? 'Cause what is that?
Are we back in R1?
No,
This is R2.
Okay.
you know what I mean, just.
Well, the all other permitted uses are
What?
subject to the zoning administrator approving it.
Yeah, but why give it any specs? Let them come to us and talk about it. Okay? I don't know, I just plan for the. Not the exception.
Take it out. Take it in.
And then if somebody does come in the future and wants to do something, is it nice to have the language in there? So
Okay.
that you like follow that.
Okay,
It doesn't hurt to be there.
but what? Okay, so they gotta go there. Why is it 20,000 lot area versus 6,000?
Go back up to R1 if you could, Carissa. I want to see what they all other permitted uses are. I only took it out of there.
In a lot area, R1.
Why don't do that?
This is smaller in
But I
R1.
took it from R1.
For,
Not the same.
It's the same.
It's saying 20.
I think, single family, I think is 5,000. In R2, but it's 7,500 in R1.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What?
they're different.
You split the screen?
Yeah.
You put it.
Okay, that's been a long time since I've done this.
If you
Isn't
don't
it
know.
side to side? I don't.
Don't worry about it. Don't-
Should I click split?
Let's do it.
Oh, no. Remove split. We don't want to do that.
No, go
No,
down in the.
Did I do it?
corner there where you see the.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's right here, guys. Here we go. Oh, gosh, this looks scary.
Pages.
I don't even know what's going on.
You make it really small.
We'll work on that. for the
Can you guys
next
still
meeting.
see this? Whoa. Is this okay?
That is side by side.
Do you want to do this? Or no? How you guys like this so far?
We're getting there, we're making progress.
Kind of scary.
But yeah, not single family, so it's supposed to be 7,500 or, but what is 7,500 acres?
There's 43,000 some odd in an acre or so.
I had heard that somewhere.
So we want to change that to 7,500 for our two. 5,000, 5,000.
Which one am I changing?
Carissa just asked a question.
Which one am I changing?
This one, the one you're on.
Right here?
R2, single family.
Oh, it's not letting me do anything in it. When I have, oh golly. It's-
Okay, so maybe get out of split screen. so
Yeah,
that you can-
sorry, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
right here, for the in-home daycare,
Single family.
single family, you want it 7,500?
The 43,560 is a 1 acre. So that all other would be just shy of a half an acre.
No, it's only 0.17 acres. So like where I live is what, 0.25, 3?
Say we're 0.27.
Okay, that sounds right, okay. A small lot, but I guess it's minimum, right?
So they really can put a lot in there, especially if they want. I mean, they can't really want the parking. Because of how small the lot is.
Or we do what more.
You don't want like a tiny home built in place with all a bunch of bigger homes.
10,000 would be 0.23.
I think 10,000 makes more sense. Yeah, to have a bigger lot, I don't know. Maybe there are smaller lots. but
What are they, what were the lots they did over by Sea?
They're about, they're like,
Yeah.
they're probably a third of an acre to an acre.
I mean, like in Chicago, it's probably like 0.1 acres.
So I'm sure, yeah.
So I don't think I want that look for, yeah.
10,000, that's 0.2, that's.
I think 10,000's,
Yeah, for both single and two, and you, yeah.
and there's someone right on the edge just below it, they bring it to us, I'm sure we can section.
So you want to do 10,000? For here and two?
So what is the two, like the condos that Slavic put over by Dartford? What were those typically on for a lot size? To your point, it'd have to be a little, it'd have to be bigger,
They are bigger.
they're not maybe as deep.
It's not, pretty big actually.
Yeah, that's
And all of the money.
Yeah, yeah, right, those are all,
Yeah.
those are all condos.
0.25.
Really? A little. Do you have a little app for that? Okay.
21.
I guess minimum you could.
Wouldn't you want your single and your two to be the same minimum lot area? Because West's point, you don't want to have where you have
You could.
tiny homes in there.
And
And
you
you
buy
don't
a bunch of
want
lots and they just build a bunch of small 2-family dwellings.
Plus, if a developer's gonna wanna develop some property, they'd rather not put of that much more stub-ins for all of the utilities. Cause then they're gonna get less per lot, cause it's not as much of a lot, you know, and then you have your valuation, it's not gonna be as appreciated in that area.
Start at 10, yeah, right, you can always go up, you know?
I agree. At least 10 for both.
Yeah, it's close to a quarter of an acre.
I feel better.
Are we changing it to one to? Or just?
I think we should.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, let's make sure we got it changed before we move forward.
seems something.
Well, I mean, this is all on Carissa.
It's terrifying.
So do we wanna do the same thing for daycare then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's at
I would
home.
agree.
Cause you're basically saying you can go out of your house.
Woohoo,
Okay, yeah, strike through on the 10,000.
sorry.
That's okay.
Woohoo.
Do you wanna strike out the 7,500 on the single family?
Oh, I underlined it. I think I underlined it. Woohoo.
Same thing down on R2, correct?
Yep.
In home daycare.
Yep. It's 5,000. $3,000 per duplex.
So bump that up to
Five,
five.
yeah. Oh, sorry, we're all over the place.
Go up,
Sorry.
we're here.
On town.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are we doing?
2 duplex max.
Getting up to 5.
3,000, 5,000 on the next
One
one.
row down.
Right
My
here.
house is two duplex packs.
So we want to say
5,
We're all making that work.
5,000.
yes.
That way they all coincide.
Then we'll keep the next 20,000.
I'm walking out of here with something tonight.
The frontage setback, all that stuff, and that all feels,
Yeah, that's all good. I don't want to mess with that.
You go back to the R1 table.
Sure can.
I think that just,
Nothing left.
A lot of red on that one.
that's okay, yep.
It's good.
So are we ready for R3?
Oh,
Strike
preschool.
out preschool.
R3.
Isn't that kind of where we started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of the 0 lot line. That was easy one.
So there's not gonna be apartments in R3, is that right?
No, there's only apartments in R3.
So I don't know why apartments.
Apartments just struck
Yeah,
out.
I think that, yeah,
What's a previous?
we decided to take them out of C1 and C2, but we had to have a zoning,
But then in R3.
So we keep
Those-
unstrike it.
unstrike it.
Yes. And condo,
I would say leave those in.
Mhm. We have that one too.
roof dwelling. Keep it out.
Gotta go somewhere.
What? What are we in?
Roof dwelling. I'm just
Oh,
going
You're
on.
gonna have to follow the commercial.
That's fine.
well, we have that, unless approved by a zoning commission, couldn't they bring that to us?
You bet they could.
So strike it,
Yeah.
Okay, no.
strike it. Okay,
I think so.
I don't
know that one.
I think 15 years down the road, it's gonna have to be addressed for prior, because the biggest age group in the community now is in their 40, mid-40 to mid-50.
Yeah, the median age is like 41.
Uh-huh.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm an old fart.
I'm taking it up.
I'm taking it.
I didn't say anything.
Adding daycare facility in there, right?
Yep. And we wouldn't, I mean, it could be an home out or facility.
Or
right?
just say daycare. Cause the definition says in home.
Yeah, it says university.
There you
It's
go.
more of a daycare though. A business, I think, under commercial, like on, or C1.
I think we should take single family dwelling out, two family dwelling out, because you don't want a single family dwelling zone R3 because it just doesn't fit. So if they're not there, then I think that takes the in-home daycare out.
And your two family is your duplex or your condo. And your R3 would be like where I live in a condo that has 4 units.
Can you widen your left box to a community center or one?
Yeah, you see what happened last time we did technology.
Sorry.
No.
We might be able to do this. I have no victory. We're gonna move him over. We're gonna move him. You know, he's not moving, but we're gonna move him this way. Okay.
Or any reason that high school, grade school, high school, right?
But like, why they need to be defined that way.
Yeah.
It is the same thing like school.
Yeah, but it is different, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because 9 through
Well,
12, you're gonna have
Traffic,
drivers.
you're gonna have people parking.
What about a not that more, but what about pre-K?
Did we just take that out? Or was that R2?
R2. I don't think we've had pre-K.
Shoot.
And
So it's
any
like-
of them.
We took preschool out of our.
Oh, yeah, we took it out of-
Preschool, R3.
Yeah, would they have a boarding house? Those were a little
Preschool?
time ago, right?
Were we taking condominium out of the R3?
I thought we're.
Well, I live in a condominium that has 4 units. so-
Oh,
So it could work, right?
yeah, gotcha.
Yes, we got another one.
Where a townhouse is two, right?
Yes.
How the realty talks about that,
Typically, yes.
yes.
So I mean, you can actually have a 2-unit condo.
Really not a market yet.
Right.
Well, that's all family dwelling then, we would leave that in here?
Yes.
Yeah.
You should.
What is it? What'd you say?
That's
Multi?
be unstruck.
We're unstriking it. There we go. We're gonna unrun it too.
Have you saved lately?
No, I don't know. I'm scared.
I get a little nervous.
That little auto save button, you should have that on, right? Auto do it.
Oh,
Oh,
Sign in, that'll happen.
we're not gonna do that. I'm
Don't
scared.
do that now. Future. Future.
We'll work on that for the next meeting.
Yeah. Learn how to sign in.
For auto save.
Why is townhouse struck out?
Typically, it's the multi.
It's max speed, I think.
That was a backup and
That was an R2.
Should we specify that? Typically, the, but should we say more than 2, less than 2?
That would have to be defined in your definitions.
what's the definition of stated townhouse? You don't-
No.
the one-
Townhouse, a 1-family dwelling unit with a private entrance in a group of 3 or 4 more units, which is a part of a structure whose dwelling units are attached horizontally in a linear arrangement, having a total exposed front and at least one other building wall exposed to allow for access, light, and ventilation.
So 3 or 4?
Up to 4.
So that would stay in here.
I think so.
I'm
Yeah.
striking.
And then it
And
wouldn't
then
be an
that would
R2.
be a two.
Aren't all Slavics townhouses R2?
Yes.
So should it stay R2? It's only, it is 2 floor.
These are 2, the ones that you just put in over off of,
And Angelina, Jean.
Ones in the back there are all R2.
he just had them rezoned to R2. Well,
Yeah, we just did that.
yeah,
Went from R1 to R2.
right.
Mhm.
but if they're all 2 families, so we still be fine, right?
Is there a difference between 2-family dwelling and townhouse?
It said 3 or up to 4, didn't it?
Yeah. You're correct, yeah. A one-family dwelling unit with a private entrance into a group of 3 or more units.
This doesn't, I can't count that.
It doesn't make sense.
Can't you put up for this one here, townhouse max 2 families, and on the next one, townhouse max 4 families? Or is that?
How's that different than?
Yeah,
It's just two more, okay.
Because up here in this paragraph, it says single and 2 family dwellings.
So is what Slavics builds, is that fit under the definition of a two-family dwelling?
Yes,
So then we can strike out townhouse, and his next one that we've approved, the preliminary, that's townhouses for that, so. That makes stuff more complicated. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I understand what you're
Like, you
saying.
could put 4, well, like,
Either way, I mean,
We call it that too.
they're all zoned R2, they're all two,
No, but all of his.
R2. R2, correct. But I'm saying he's got more planned in the future, so if we change this, does he have to rezone it again? Since ground is not their road. It's kind of a pain, but.
Okay. So right here,
We approved it months ago.
Because the one we are.
For the next, for the, is it the 4th or the 3rd? The next plat that's to the east.
Those are all two, too.
They're two family, but
But then they would be fit under. Right?
potentially, they're called townhouses, so that's how he refers to them, so I'm not sure if it matters.
What? It should. Where'd you hear that? Mm-mm.
This is that corner.
I'm not getting over.
Own that, I'm not sure.
yeah, the
And
church,
also-
37 acres up here.
Yeah, like in the corner of it.
I know he's got some, I
Payroll and
forget
simplicity.
where they're at. But there's another strip of the townhome set. You looked at it, they gave us that reason.
I feel like we have that down.
I think it is the whole area.
You can
Zoning
practice
that.
And there was good,
The zoning map.
there was good reason I saw it when he said it.
Oh, I don't know what
Yeah, I
the
mean,
zoning
I
plan
think
is.
I know it's kind of like, you can see that like he's having here and more buffer up against the apartments.
I know
Zoning.
Joe, but we
it's like
said
the
that.
very first
Document,
document.
okay.
There you go. There we go.
There it is. I'll put it-
Probably should have did this a while
That's
ago.
what it's like. Are we gonna make it just more complicated than
Yeah, we don't want.
recreate what we've already?
They don't need a nightmare for that.
Yeah.
No,
We get
no,
kicked out
he's
at
only
7
the
o'clock.
administrator.
School hours now.
I'm sorry,
Do we get kicked out at 7 or?
it's
school
8.
hours?
Oh. And it's totally up to you if you want to stop here, if you want to continue to go, since you're all volunteer.
Should we get through R3?
Let's finish it, whatever it's up to our.
Hank,
So just. Oh, there.
you were on
I
it.
think that all stays, right?
Yes, they keep all that.
Okay.
You want a townhouse in one, two, if it's 3 to 4? That would be.
I don't have an issue with 3 to 4, if it's on a horizontal plane, but other people feel differently. I think that's how she defined it. It's gotta be in a horizontal linear fashion, right?
That's how the definition reads.
I don't think it's an eyesore.
Stacking them.
I don't think it's an eyesore.
If any realtor's trying to sell it, it's gonna be more elegant on that single story level like
Yeah. But I'm fine with it. Everyone else is.
I'm fine with it.
Good?
I promise you, it's gonna get easier after this.
Okay. Then we're striking out nothing.
If you're good with it there.
Good there. Oh. There you go. So just thinking. If we would ever annex, for east. I think Walton. Would that be, no?
It's not in the city.
Would it be?
Sure.
So do you put something like that in here?
I wouldn't do it right now. I would wait until we get to that point where we annex them in, and I think then that's when we put our selective heads together, yeah.
Okay. Just thinking about where some of that stuff might fit.
Oh, we did have preschool down here.
You wanna change the
Yeah,
middle there to?
The lot sizes.
So
So 7,500.
this is 7,500. Or was it 10? I think it's 10.
10, yeah.
And then this one's 10.
I think for the next meeting, I'll have Carissa just print out what we've done so far, so everybody can have, we'll make sure we send it out to you way ahead of time, but at least you'll have a hard copy. If you want to mark up on, because I always like to mark up on a hard copy.
Oh, great.
Same here. Do we want to do 10 here and then 10 here?
Did we take bed breakfast off up there? That's not even up there. I think.
I'm gonna strike them up.
Yeah, but is this where we allow it? I think it was up on R2, wasn't it?
Mhm.
It was
Should have been struck out, right?
all the conditional use and somebody wants to bring it to town.
Do we want to keep it? You want to put it in there? No.
Yeah, that's fair too. I mean, it's,
I'm
I
fine
don't,
either way.
I don't know. Is that a big ask, Shelley? I mean, I don't know.
Depends on how much of a destination we become.
I feel like
Yeah.
Airbnb-
Since the Field of Dreams gonna expand out here. I know I brought up the Airbnb stuff a while back.
Okay, that was two of you. Okay, where's that go?
So what you just said,
Yes,
dude.
it is. No problem.
We brought it up a few sessions ago.
Valid discussion.
Has any other adjacent city have I would say regulations? I don't wanna
I mean, I feel like the it's going to develop, that's going to expand.
If they keep playing baseball, you know. Soon.
I feel like, so do we address that another meeting altogether, maybe? It's a big.
Never go ahead and Farley has them.
I feel like they happen after development's already been there though, like, I mean.
I agree with that.
Yes.
But I feel like that's more of a, that comes back to like the business.
But is it city regulating or city aware?
Cities aware, you have to contact them, or if they find out when it's sold, like I know for Farley, they reach out and say, what the business is, or what is it? Airbnb is wonderful. The month.
Yeah.
Their lease, they're not regulating. Like, no.
They're aware.
Yes. So then that way, they also have people looking for the living area, they can say, hey, here's some rental properties we have.
I think the issue in the bigger cities like New York is that property owners are making so much more money doing Airbnb that the local tenants don't have anywhere to live.
Yes.
So I think that's the biggest issue, why stuff's being enacted.
Really?
Yeah, you make a killing for it versus just being a landlord.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to address it right now, but I think that's just the big picture of why big cities are regulating it. And I think New York City just banned Airbnb.
Oh,
Saw,
Well, I think even as a neighborhood discussion topic, when we talk about Field of Dreams, like, yeah, they could rent our house for a week.
I mean, right? I mean, that's where I don't think, so from someone trying to make money, I would never want to stop somebody from trying to make money. I think tenants are
And I feel
not
like,
being out rented, somewhat they're raising the rents, whatever it is, because they know they can get them out, and get better than Airbnb.
but I guess the traffic on an Airbnb isn't going to be more than a or something.
That is fair.
Unless
I can
they
follow
have-
Airbnb, so.
I am sure.
Yeah.
As long as there's no issues and complaints.
Yeah, as long as you live.
Big house parties next
And
door.
most Airbnbs don't offer.
What's your definition of party?
Well,
They got very strict in the mental agreement.
they do.
We've had quite a bit with,
Yeah.
we run those at a hotel. But it just needs to be placed somewhere where it can be.
30 of my
Net
in-laws
rentals
came over.
Cut it off at the pass.
And moderately loud music. not
No hooping or hollering, no cattle calling. That's actually in ordinances too.
And so honestly, I mean, another subdivision, I feel.
Being a color and just, you know,
I don't think that I would care if there was an Airbnb across the street from me.
I agree.
I wouldn't either.
Just go until we have
They have-
complaints.
Yeah, the only thing,
But
the only thing would be is you could put a lot of people in one of these houses, right, in theory.
I mean, well,
If they're going,
You got
through, like,
four
yeah,
bedroom, that's 2 people per bedroom. That's 4 cars. You got parking for 4 cars, maybe we do. You know, you have a street full of cars.
In the middle of the winter, we gotta start plows, but that's actually good.
okay, first.
I don't know if this would be the place.
I'm
to come
for
for
Airbnb.
You know what I mean? I'm a little bit like devil's advocate too.
I mean, I feel like most houses have 2 more garages that people would park in. 2 and driveway.
No, sure, I guess it'll all be gone. Okay.
But typically, people work through like the RBO and they have a contract, like you had that at your house. There's very strict language in that VRBO because they're trying to protect the renter.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Fun discussion. Yeah, we should talk about that. Yeah.
So add that.
And I feel like
breakfast
it
or no?
happens after the fact, like, I don't know,
I would just.
I don't know.
like this is before development.
Yeah.
Looking at.
That's more after.
And I feel like it comes in after usually,
Totally agree, Matt.
but
I
I,
couldn't agree more.
It's more like the, is accessory use Airbnb.
oh, yeah,
Because
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
you're really
yeah.
trying to say.
well, yeah, that's how you could, because then they have to bring it,
Right.
and if it's any of those other things. Like it's
It's just
already
a
all that,
level, yeah.
yeah, so I would agree, I agree with that.
Michael, you are on fire.
There we go.
So underneath.
Yeah, we're gonna be done.
three-
Settle.
Thanks, man. I think I got a headache. So.
So what do I need
Bed
in
and
breakfast?
Keep it.
You wanna?
Do you wanna
keep
put
it
bed
in?
and breakfast in there or out? Cause it's in the bottom, but it's not up here.
I'd say keep it out.
Well, and is it any
Okay.
different than what's already in R3? Like if you look at the. What's spelled out at the bottom, like is it
No.
Under the bulk regulations, you mean?
under like where it
Right here.
spells out like the lot,
Oh, okay.
lot
Oh,
size?
table.
Right here.
Yeah, the
bulk
table, like
regulations.
is that any, yeah, see, it's the same as the other block, it doesn't really matter.
Drink it out.
Yeah, I'd be very good.
Woohoo.
Who do we wanna say, like the schools? Should be like all the same, and that probably, it probably needs to be bigger than 20,000.
And we should unstrike the multiple family. And there's 12 dwelling the unit max. Are we having some 16s or?
18.
So
Yeah, Callahan's are 12 and Slavic, he has a couple of 18s.
does that need to change to 18 or should that be?
I would say that would be the
4, or
max.
should that be-
And I believe in underneath the old C1 or
Uh-huh.
C2 that we had
18 dwelling unit max. One
Right
box,
there.
one cell.
Yeah.
That's it.
for
I don't know,
C2.
or just put slots in.
Oh, sorry, we got it straight.
Okay. So 18 dwelling unit, 3 level max.
Sorry, guys, this is probably painful. to Watch.
Oh, it's all
Okay.
And we should
3 level
really
max.
bump up that lot size, or 2,000 per unit, so.
3
Does
level.
that
max.
full family dwelling include hotels? What's the hotel?
That'd be 36,000.
3 level max. So we
It's
18
an under
dwelling
multiple
unit,
family,
3 level
18.
max.
I think we should put it under. Should we put it under?
The hotel, I wonder, what's a hotel under? Commercial?
Probably C2.
Personal? That makes it a lot cleaner, actually.
What?
Yeah, hotels under.
So my question on this one, and we don't have to go through it all, but if you go back to the top, I'm gonna give that more to James. Do we go through all of these and try to list in the bottom specs
In the bulk regulation?
minimum? Yeah,
Should we also put like PK to 8th grade?
I think that's why
I would rather leave it that way, because if you have a smaller school come in and they don't meet that minimum. Or if you have a larger school that, let's just say, the 144 acres that we recently annexed in, that are heading east to Cottingham.
Yeah.
Let's just say that Dubuque, Western Dubuque says we're putting all of our schools out there. I mean, we have to think about, I don't want to limit them to a regulation that is restrictive. So I think what we have out there, I would just rather leave it there until we have somebody bring a project in. I think it's better to have a bird in the hand before we start going in and changing everything. Because inevitably somebody's gonna come in with something different and we're gonna have to go back and change it. And chances are it's gonna go back to the original setting that we had.
Well, we don't have hardly anything for this. Go down to your.
In the both
specs.
regulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just have single to multiple.
What I'm saying is conditional uses.
Mhm.
You have a daycare, which is, that's probably not right, and then you have preschool.
Should the daycare stay at that 10,000 with all the others
Well, that could go a lot bigger now because it's its own facility, right?
in the R3, correct?
You might have.
But what I'm saying here is that if you're not gonna kind of conditional use anything, then just delete it all.
Is that what you're trying to get away? You're trying to get away from the conditional use?
No. I'm either saying we should give some kind of guidance for it or not.
So you,
Would they be the all other permitted uses for like all that other? Like the,
You could, and then that's all
but then
that.
maybe we bump that up from 20, I mean.
That's what I'm saying. If you go back up, is there some minimum lot area that
Are we going back up?
What
here
is
too?
daycare lot size on there?
10? We just did the same for house.
But that, yeah,
Do you wanna do,
then it really should be 20 in this to match up with like a,
So
any other facility, because you're gonna have parking on this style of a daycare in R3.
I'm sick.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because if they're in this size, then they have, their license of the state allowed for more
Right.
children there. So they're gonna need more parking space.
But if that's what we're gonna do is 20,000, 50, 26, 20, 30, or whatever, just say all conditional uses.
did they get rid
Yeah.
of single family and
Yeah.
two family dwellings in country?
Yes.
Yep.
Good call.
Yeah, we can look at that, but I'm just.
do you wanna keep townhouse in there or out? Cause it's up here,
I think we can have some pieces.
okay.
Anything else there be in C 1 or 2 versus residential? We go like a cemetery, is that, I don't know, if cemetery is residential, commercial, it's not really commercial. Some of the stuff doesn't feel like an R3.
Do you guys want this, what, do you want it like higher up than 3,000 for townhouse?
So it's 3,000 per dwelling.
Well, yeah, because if we had a single family at end,
So this-
31.8.
I think we switch it to the definition.
To the 4.
Yeah,
Or here?
yeah.
So if you had 5 per dwelling, for instance, then you'd have 20,000 for your lot size, it could be a quarter of an acre. Or just shy of a quarter of an acre. Or just shy of half an acre. 43,000 an acre.
here's another question, but daycare facility. Well, that should not be. on here.
You know, that way I'm not a couple of the R3s, so it's almost like a business.
Yeah.
But you want it
More like
close to
we want-
residential.
When it closed, but
Double-edged sword, because if you're growing in that area and you have young families
you want it, but
in proximity.
That's R3s, so it's not like it's single families, it'd be generally bigger probably.
Now, these R3s could be right next to an area of R1, correct?
So your R3s are gonna be like Slavik's apartments, and Callahan's apartments. Well, not necessarily Joel's, but. But if you think about the demographic that's in an apartment, it's usually single mothers. I'm not saying it's all
Wouldn't be the
single
worst
mothers,
thing,
but
they're always fenced in.
I'm just looking at
Kids
traffic,
corral.
little kids running around.
Traffic.
They really want-
Me, they have the same feel as the school. I think, I would agree with what you're saying. I feel like if we keep the schools though, I feel like that fits closest
Yeah.
to that, but.
Yeah.
But I agree that a lot of these are kind of like where.
Wishy-washy, which
Right.
are they're here.
Yeah.
well, if we think about the area that we have left to develop in and where we want to move forward on, I mean, we're gonna go north. All that property there, that's probably all gonna be R1 and R2. I don't see that as being R3 because we have enough apartments at this point. Moving east on the acreage that we just annexed in, that's probably gonna be a C2. If not a little bit higher. I don't have any information on what's going there at this point, but ideally, I think that the developer wants to do something near commercial, which is fantastic. And then we go south, that is all industrial at this point. So really, we're looking
I
at,
don't really
The
have any
north.
more R3 or.
right,
C1.
yeah, so I don't really see. And I don't want to minimize the discussion by any means, but I don't think I would want to put too much into the daycare and the preschools, because I just don't see R3 being something that's gonna solidify.
Let's see if they could, you know. Jump on them.
Or north of town, or north.
Or north, but if it's gonna be on 1 and 2.
Well, we can specify R3. But then we run the risk of a problem.
So south of the highway, that's already kind of zoned as industrial.
That's what it's leaning toward right now. We have some part concrete is there, and we're working with AJ Spiegel to annex in 200 acres. So that'll be industrial as well. I don't anticipate any R1, R2, or R3 over there
So
at this
see,
point.
like Epworth has done some south for the residential.
Mhm.
They're doing another one too. I saw they're breaking ground in multiple places. I don't know if Piasta would have that look, and then with residential, commercial could kind of come that way.
The problem with Highway 20 South is that there's a pipeline that runs through there. So you have to be, development's gonna be very minimal. I don't ever see that. And I don't see the property owners selling anytime soon. But it's gonna be very difficult to develop those lots that you see along Highway 20. With that pipeline running through there. But when you get to Bard in the south, it's fine. And that's kind of where AJ's land is at right now.
Okay, hard stop at 7:30, but like that. kind of thing, so. I'm gonna throw one out here, I will probably like it, 'cause we're gonna go backwards, but. To your point, I was sitting here thinking. A daycare, we could use another daycare in their town.
Absolutely.
I mean, the waiting list to get an NICC is. Something.
We've been on for 3 years.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
My kids are a lot older, so I don't have it, but it's a great daycare. North in that area, you know, there used to be the talk of what was that, the senior living or whatever, right? Remember that?
Oh, the equestrian. Yeah.
that was off of Cox Springs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, that area up there seems to be could be. Do we put daycare facility as part of R2?
So it's just one.
I would say absolutely. I'm biased.
Because, and then you take it out of here, because I think there. You know, if we wanted to, you know, if you had some R2 in that north area here, that's quickly developing,
We have the potential of it being there.
yes.
And to your
Okay,
point,
so we struck it
community
out.
that's trying to grow is not trying to get gray hair people like me, they're trying to get young families to come work at
Right.
these organizations, and they're gonna need.
And that's one of our, you know,
serve those families.
You know, I know we're struggling, west of the prime example, we've been trying to get them through here.
Well, I stopped calling, so.
I'm sure you guys are not on the gas and on the stage, but.
Well. Oh. I hear how- okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Looking for daycare down in the work area.
It's
If
crazy.
somebody was willing to open one, I think we would support it anywhere,
Mhm.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
because it's needed.
I do agree. I think we should let that be an R2.
Agree with that.
That's what it is.
So this is an R2.
So we're gonna unstrike it.
We're gonna unstrike it. We're gonna make
And
it.
then take out in-home.
And then we're gonna do this one, we're gonna take that out. Do we wanna keep this 10? Okay.
Yeah.
You could from the, on the
Okay.
building.
So then we'll go here and
So
we're
we're
gonna
But
do
if we want to
3.
take it out here or leave it in here as well. As an option.
Why wouldn't you?
You could, you could.
More daycares is better.
You could leave it. You could leave it. I'm just
Because
saying.
you're putting parks in this area too, and you're putting preschool.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we wanna up this 3,000? Under townhouse?
I'm good with that, yeah.
That seems pretty small. I mean, a townhouse is supposed to be more of a elegant type of a facility, and that's what they're selling it as, and building it as.
Did we have that at 5?
Right. Right.
You wanna
Because
do-
even if you had 4 units, there's 20,000.
20,000 and how much, 20 acres?
Just have that. Remember, it's all one level.
What do we
I
want?
just think of the Slavics, if you take that and just take that into the backyard, I think half is appropriate.
So we want 5 or keep it at 3?
Because then that puts us up to
Perfect.
20,000 instead of 4.
Okay.
So do we want to go back to R2 and change that from 3 to 5?
I don't think we have townhouse in R2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we did.
Oh, yeah.
It is
We did do 5.
3.
And only two, well.
change
well,
I think that has 2 there.
That is two.
Leave
Yeah.
that as 2, okay,
That's the R2.
okay.
And then what definition is 4?
Three
So we either gotta change definition or. change
Well,
that.
Well, the definition can be broad, but then we're defining it more in R2 and R3, where it's 2 here and then it's 4 there.
So their point, what's the definition? Three. I think it reads 3 or 4, right?
or four.
Yeah, up to 3 or 4.
Wait, what are we
I
doing?
think-
Oh, we're going all the way up to the
Yeah.
townhouse, okay.
Read.
Oh, yeah.
I think,
Well, you could say townhomes.
I think 4 is small enough still for R2 where it can fit in there. I don't think the jump from 2 to 4 is substantial, it's still R2, it's not R1.
Two
3.
or more units.
2 to 4 should we put? Instead of 3 or more? That makes it sound like.
2 to
Oh,
4.
2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Yep.
Versus more.
So instead of saying 3 or
Yeah.
more, strike that out and say 2 to 4 units.
Yeah, 2 to 4.
I like it.
Why does it say one family dwelling unit? I still don't understand that. No.
Wait, you wanna do 2 to 4
Yeah, unstrike the word unit.
or unit?
Like they
Okay,
share
we're
all
gonna
that.
But it's 4 different
2 to 4.
people potentially
Oh golly.
paying one person rent. Is that accurate?
So somebody can own all of it. Most of the time we own the
Sorry.
space.
It's so painful. Can't do
Well,
it.
it's all under one roof,
You don't have to sweat rock.
but it's all, we're saying. it's all-
Rid of a little more, or unstrike.
2 to 4 more units.
Just 2 to 4
No,
units.
Unstrike the word,
Strike the what?
Take the more.
strike out the word more.
I'm sorry. There we go.
There.
That's good enough.
I just saved.
Saved. Okay, there we go.
Are we good?
Definitely not what I wanted.
All right, so we'll continue this conversation next time we meet.
Good discussion.
Good, very good discussion. Then let's make a motion to adjourn.
Any new citizen comment?
Oh, citizen comment, right.
We have two.
Would you like to say anything?
No, I'm an observer tonight.
Okay.
I just saw the the newsletter, and, I'm just a concerned citizen. I live on Andrew King, where we're speaking a lot about Slavic properties and things like that, so. I'm just curious about what else is going on.
I ask what you concern with?
Yeah, I've already talked to Ned about this every time.
Yeah.
My concern is that I live in one of, my backyard is Cox Spring. And I lived on one of the gray units, I call them all that, because most of them are. And I lived there, I think, coming up on 4 years. And, I came and talked to Ned a while back, and one of the people that owned one of the townhouses started putting a driveway on Cox Spring Road. Which I came, right, you don't say anything, but I came over because the last thing that road needs is another
Access point.
point of entry, exit, whatever you call it. So I came over after I saw the meeting today because I was concerned and I knew that another piece of property was sold in the dance studio going, and sure enough, they've got another point of entry on Cox Spring Road. So if that's all, and I'm aware of who the property owner is there, but if those are gonna be sold individually, each business, you're gonna get a point of entry between where the, let's just say where the pump house is down there and Juliana Drive. I mean, I can't imagine how many that would be. And so I'm just listening because I wanted to know how these things develop. And, I'm not here all the time, but I plan on listening. And when that comes up for any other property sales over there, my recommendation is going to be that needs a frontage road of its own at Juliana coming down. It does not need 4, 6, 8 more cuts in it. It's bad.
And that's not the intent of council. I know that they wanted that one cut. We wanted to get an easement, so that way we would be able to have that road to go in, and then they would have a road that will go north to
Right.
serve the balance of that.
And I've said to city staff when I've told them, I said, I'm not so naive to think when I bought that place, that big, beautiful farm field over there was never gonna be anything. I came 30 years from Bird Acres, so I know, a little bit about the area. So I'm not against development there,
Mhm.
but I am against all the cuts in Cox Springs. And I know people are saying, oh, that might close someday, you know. And I'm appreciative of the lower speed limit.
Mhm.
Very nice. So I don't complain about everything. Well, that's why, that is exactly why I'm here. I'm just here to listen and the process and see how things go. You guys, thank you for your service. Y'all doing a great job. So, and the staff has always been helpful when I go over. So, yeah. Thank you. And they called me by my first name, so.
First name basis, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Thank
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Ralph. So again, before we do that though, so they put in a they've extended the turning lane into Thunder Hills, correct?
Yes,
And they are gonna put a speed up lane off of Cox Springs, is that what they're doing now with everything all shut off and tore up?
and I guess, I got an email over the weekend that the state police were complaining to DOT because there's been a couple of near misses out there already with all this construction going on. Unfortunately, the DOT, and I think I shared this with you before, they won't put any kind of a diamond interchange or anything there until they have a loss of life, which is terrible.
At Cox Springs.
Mhm. Eventually, DOT wants to close Cox Springs off
To put a ramp
Yes,
on.
and
on Thunder Hills,
Yeah.
yeah.
those
It
cones
was
are so
acceleration.
dangerous right there, you can't see any car.
I know,
coming.
and that's part of the complaint with the state
Yes.
police is that they've had near misses and.
I would agree.
Yeah.
100%.
So we have, that's why they
It's good to
closed
have
it off, so you can only go right, east, or you can go west,
Yes.
and then you can't go east and turn
Yeah.
north.
You said they would put a what in after that? They-
Either a diamond interchange or a double back, which is kind of just, but
Hasn't there been a zone thing?
I don't think
A
so.
lot of that accident.
And actually, the
A lot of
crash
cuts,
reports are not
right.
as bad as you think they are.
And they,
No, I mean, we've dug through past records and it's amazing.
like my wife and I, and then I'll leave it, like where we live, you know, I told you, we don't even before it was just closed off, we don't even use Cox Spring Road.
Hello.
Because
I don't anymore.
if they really want to solve the problem, go just a little bit west of where Cox Spring comes in, and go all the way over to Thunder Hill and just excavate it all out flat. You cannot see.
Correct.
So when I see lights, I don't go, but if I see the top of a car, I'm like, I think I can time this.
So, yeah, we just go up and get on the freeway.
That's a
It
smart.
doesn't take much longer.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's much safer.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys close your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Service.
Mr. Colt is on the phone too, if you'd like to see if he has any comment. Tom Colt. He's gonna stay on mute.
I think on the floor was there a motion to adjourn?
There's a motion to adjourn now.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.